Hi everybody, this is Brian with the Instructional Tech Coordinator team here in the School District of Waukesha. In this video we're going to demo iBook's Author, and what we're really aiming for in this is to show you the full concept from finding an article that you might like to use with your students and share with your students to getting that article into an iBooks format so that your students have a great annotation tool and have an ongoing record of that, to quickly pushing it out and viewing why that might be beneficial. We're trying to give you the full picture in this video, but we're going to try to show you how quickly it can be done once you feel comfortable using the iBooks tools. So here's the lay of the land as it sits today. I have iBooks already open. I'm at the template chooser screen. I've already found an article that I'd like to share with my students, and I've written up some brief directions that I put into every one of my iBooks for all of my kids. So that's what's already been done. This is a science article, so I'm going to pick a template that kind of fits for what the work that I need to do here, which is this contemporary template. You can use any of them, doesn't matter which you choose. But when I do choose a template, it's going to open up a page that looks very much like this. So let's get the key things out of the way right away. Every iBook has to have a book title. This is how students sort it in the iBooks app on their iPad. So I'm just going to put some general information that you would customize for your class. Okay. Let's just do Earth Science. And I'm going to give it the title here, the same title that I've got from the article. There we go. All right, and I'm going to select all the text and just make it smaller so it fits. Perfect. This way it'll be easy for my kids to find this article. And we'll put this as Unit 3 Literacy Activity. Great. All right, so now all of my kids have a way of finding this when it gets to their iBook store. That's the title. Now we're going to get to the first chapter. Now every iBook has this need for a chapter in it, and that's really all it is just a need to have a way of organizing it. It doesn't have to be called a chapter, so don't feel stuck. I'm going to just type Earth Science there. I've already copied and pasted the title, but I'd like the title of the text here as well. I'm going to resize that so it works for my students and isn't too large. Now here I typically find that when kids get into the resources, they have a hard time knowing what to do with them, so I want to guide them as they go. That's why I typed up some of these instructions in advance. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that right there and drag this out just a little bit. All right, in this, I acknowledge that there is an Evidence Big Ideas graphic organizer that needs to be available to my students. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that right here. Let's see if I can find that one. There it is. So I'm just going to have that, grab that link, because I'm going to paste it right in. So I've got the text that I'd like to be linked. Now I'm going to click Insert, Hyperlink, Web Page. Great. Now all I need to do is put the actual web link there. Good. You'll see this little pop-up browser that shows up here, this little window. That's important whenever you're adding something like a hyperlink. All right, good. So I'm going to close that guy, and we're going to go to section 1. You know what? Right here, I want to give credit to the original author because it's important for me to model that for my kids. So it's from Stuart Gary, ABC Science Online. So I'm just going to type that in. And it was published. All right. Any other information? I think I'm just going to put the title in there one more time. And there we go. Perfect. All right, now here, I'm just going to put the text of it into this box. Right now, the problem is this is all cluttered, and I have a hard time copying and pasting when it's cluttered. So one of the things I've learned to do is I'm using the Safari browser. Safari's got a really neat tool that's called the Reader View. You might have a hard time seeing this right now, but if you're in Safari and you put the link to the article there, you can click these little lines here and it will turn it into a reader view. This also works on an iPad, by the way. But what it allows me to do is to make this content really easy to copy and paste. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and copy it. And now I'm just going to right click and paste. Great. There's all of the text that I've been looking for. I do notice right away though that this text has headings in it, which is really important for students to understand and is a key to literacy, is understanding those subheadings. So I'm going to go in and put those headings in right away. So here's one of the first ones. Well, how do I get headings into an iBook? If I pull out the styles drawer here, which is indicated by this blue P, those are the different styles that I can select. Notice I've already highlighted my text. Now I can just pick a heading. I'm going to use heading 1 for this particular case. I'm going to repeat that for all of the headings. Again, heading 1. And I believe there's one more. Yep, there it is. And we're going to go heading 1. I also noticed something else about these headings when I was looking at this article, and I wish my kids had a way to get to this. If I'm in the article online, I can actually click this link and it will open a new link with deeper information in another article. That might be great for some of my kids who want to take the idea a little bit further. So how do I get that link into my iBook? Well, because this is a hyperlink text, I can right click and then click copy link. Now I'm going to go to the text, and we did this just a little while ago. I'm going to go to the text that I'd like to be hyperlinked. I'm going to do insert hyperlink web page, and I'm going to undo that. That's not what I meant to do. I'm going to highlight the field and paste it in. I'm going to repeat that for each of these. Copy link. And in the window that opens, I'm going to paste that link. Got 2 more to go. Stick with me. Now, one of the things that I always try to point out with technology is even if this takes a little bit longer than it might have taken to just share the link with them initially, usually with technology, once it's done the first time, it's ready to go for the future. And so if you spend a little extra time getting these articles ready now in a format that's really good for annotation, like iBooks, maybe it's a worthwhile trade in time to next year have the exact same resources and tools available. Another thing that I always point out is you should definitely be willing to work with some of your teacher-like, course-alike colleagues to get some of this work done, because now you'll have, instead of 1, you'll have 3 different resources to pull from. The next thing I'm going to do is put the last bit of text in, which is some directions for my students. And I'm just going to put that right here. Now, sometimes copying and pasting doesn't always work perfectly. For instance, this case right here. But it's good enough in a quick edit, and I've got something that will work for my students. And I think this probably better belongs right here. Perfect. Good. All right, so I might also want to put some reminders in for my students here. So I'm going to highlight this the same way that the kids would highlight text, as blue, as green, and as pink. This is just going to serve as a great visual reminder for the students as they're working. All right, so we've got a lot of the things there that we need, but it just needs some sort of a visual yet. Well, the original article does have a pretty good visual that I like to use. All I need to do is either right-click and copy the image, or because I have Apple products with the Safari browser, I can actually just drag and drop this in wherever I see fit. And once it's there, I can move it around too to give it kind of a different feel and look. So that's where I think I'm going to drop that one, just to add some visual interest. There we go. If I don't like the alignment of something, for instance, I don't like how this heading is sitting at the bottom, I can also get my cursor in the right spot and do an insert column break. That makes sure that this isn't sitting at the bottom of the column. That looks better. Great. I think I'm feeling pretty good about how this whole thing looks at this point. So let's go ahead and get it out to my students. I'm going to click File, Export. I'm going to export it as an iBook. That makes the links live. Click Next. And for this one, I'm just going to put it on my desktop. So we'll call this the Tectonic Plates article. It'll take just a few moments to export out. The more media I have in, the longer it will take. But the next question everybody asks is, how do I get this out to my kids? That's great, but how can they get it on their iPads? Well, use the same delivery mechanisms you use for almost everything else. My recommended version is to take this and drop it into a Google Drive folder. Take the link from that Google Drive folder and put it into a Blackboard course. And now when your students come to visit that link in the Blackboard course using the Safari browser, they can click Download from Google Drive, then it will open, and they can click Open In, and it will open in iBooks. And once they've done so, it'll look just like this, and they'll be ready to start reading right on the iBook. Now, what's the value of using iBooks as opposed to just sharing the link? Well, I tried to highlight it here, but I can take any content, whether on the iPad or on the MacBook in iBooks. I can highlight that content. I can add notes to that content, such as, this is a great piece to add to our group project. This becomes even more powerful on the iPad, but I can now study from these pieces. Here you can see I have just a different way of looking at the content that I annotated. And now my kids, without doing anything extra, have a great set of study cards and ways for them to reflect on the reading that they did in class today. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how long it takes to create an article into an iBook that can be shared out with your students that will really truly help them annotate their text differently and hold on to what they've read and understand what they've read better and for longer. As always, if you have questions, feel free to shoot them to any of the instructional technology coordinators. Have a great day and thanks for your time.